Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Prologues podcast. I'm your host, Mary Skinner, and usually that is said in the intro of this podcast, the same intro that plays at the beginning of every episode. But I feel like Prologues needs a rebrand. I'm not feeling the intro. I'm not feeling the description. I'm not even really feeling the artwork at the moment. I don't even know if I'm feeling the title. I have this urge to just rebrand the entire podcast because I feel like I'm in such a crazy different part of my life than I was when I started Prologues over a year ago. Maybe the title is a little bit too much, but definitely the artwork, definitely the intro, and just those little details. I don't know. I feel like I need a change. I feel like I've been stuck in this previous era of my life because I've gone through so many changes in the last year and I've been struggling to adjust to them and adapt. I've been struggling to have my career adapt, and I'm not vibing with it at the moment. So I wanted to get a vibe check from you guys. How do we feel about a rebrand? I mean, I'm asking you how we feel about a rebrand. I think I'm probably going to do it anyway at some point, but just throwing that out there. There might be some changes coming to Prologues in the second half of this year as I figure out what feels most aligned with me as we move forward. The types of episode topics and the content will still be the same, I think. I'm just feeling like aesthetically and visually, I want to go in a different direction. Let me know what you think. But hi, welcome back. I realized last week that we haven't done a Girl Talk episode in about 2 months, just over 2 months. It was the beginning of May when we did part 4. So we're going to do Girl Talk part 5 because these are always some of y'all's favorite ever Prologues episodes, and I really enjoy them. I also feel like because they're a low-key, informal, multi-topic type of episode, it's a good time for me to just slot myself in the beginning and talk about my life updates, things I've been loving, just more casual, chatty bits. When I have an episode that is really centered around one topic, so like the seven tips for elevating your style or finding your style, the wedding episode, 6 tips for productivity for low energy girls. Like I just know that if you're clicking on that title, you probably don't want to hear 20 minutes of me rambling about my life before I get to the point. So that's why I don't do life updates or favorites or just chatty things at the start of every episode. I'm just trying to get to the point for you guys, especially if you're new and you click onto Prologues for the first time and you don't know anything about me or who I am. And let's be honest, you don't care like what my little brain is going through. You just want to hear the real topic. But I feel like Girl Talk is a good time to sort of catch up. So I've been here for 7 weeks. It's really starting to sink in that this is not just some crazy vacation I'm on. This is like my real life, and it might be my real life forever. And I'm really homesick. And we just passed the July 4th weekend. And so seeing my family and friends do things for July 4th was really hard. And I did throw a July 4th party here, and all my friends came, and it was great. But seeing my family and friends celebrating back home and like everyone together, just feeling really not left out, because I know I wasn't deliberately left out. If I was home, I would be there. But yeah, just feeling really removed from everything, I think made my homesickness that I was already starting to feel quite a bit worse. So I've been going through that this week. And then also, Matt just started his new job, which is fantastic, amazing. We love, so excited for him. But for the last year, I've been really used to Matt and I being home together. Obviously, when he came back from Dallas, he was at home with me. And then when he decided to retire from rugby, he started pursuing post grad like certificates and things. He was working on his education so that he could change careers, but he was doing that from home. And so we've just been home for a year together, and I got really used to that. And he started his new job, which will be hybrid in the future, but isn't hybrid yet. So he's just been gone all day, every day. Well, not every day, but 5 days a week. He's just been gone. And it's just a big adjustment. I just got so used to us being home together. And I am really looking forward to when he goes hybrid, because then he'll just be home a little bit more often. I'll see him more. But that was a big adjustment too, especially because moving here, Matt and Fergus are my only like grounding tastes of home. And when we first got here, it was so helpful having Matt here because I needed someone to facilitate that transition and to be a comfort to me as I uprooted my entire fucking life and moved to a different country. And I still feel like I'm going through that. Like, I don't think 7 weeks is enough time to feel totally settled somewhere. In fact, I've heard it takes like 2 years. And so I think because I was already feeling homesick and I'm kind of adjusting to him working outside of the home again, I was like, oh, I'm lonely. So that's what I've been feeling. That's kind of how I'm doing lately. And I don't want that to sound sad or like I'm complaining, because I am really enjoying being here. Like, I don't regret moving to Scotland. I am finding my place here. I'm deepening my friendships. I'm finding like my local spots that I love. I'm finding my place here very slowly, but it's obviously a massive, massive change. And I think I'll be dealing with this for a long time. My therapist told me yesterday it takes 2 years to feel settled in a new environment. So, okay. What else have I been doing? I've been on a really intense hair care journey. And by that, I mean learning about hair care because I'm still bleaching my hair. And I realized I just didn't really know anything about hair care. And I said at the beginning of 2024, this was my year of hair. And it really has been. I've been so insane about bond repair and anti breakage and all of these things. And so, two favorites I have to share with you guys are two creators I've been following. If you have damaged hair, if you're just interested in hair care, I am learning so much from these two women. Their names are Abby Young and Avrin Brill. They have changed my life and changed my beauty routine. I have been binge watching all of their content, like scrolling back a year on their Instagram Reels pages, just learning everything, watching all of their highlights. I watch Abby Young's YouTube videos, just trying to absorb as much information as possible. If you do have damaged hair or if you're on a hair care journey, I really recommend following the two of them because I'm just loving it. Other favorites, Substack. I've started a Substack. I've been a Substack reader for a while. It makes me feel very educated, very mature to get online, get on my phone in the morning and read a Substack post instead of like going on Instagram or going on Threads or something. When I get on Substack in the morning, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going on Instagram. I'm going to read. I'm going to think. If you can't see me on the video of this podcast, just know I'm so kidding. Like I'm so making fun of myself and I'm so joking right now. But Substack is really fun. And I do think it's better for my brain if I'm going to consume online content. I do think it's better for my brain than consuming lots of short form. I actually had to delete Threads off of my phone because I was spending hours scrolling Threads every day. Just like not even really following anyone because random people just kept coming up on my Threads timeline or whatever. But just like seeing what's going on, seeing what the people are saying, what's the chat, you know? I had to delete it. It was taking up way too much of my life. I was spending so much time. And I think I got kind of addicted to Threads before I went to the Eras tour because I was getting a lot of my Swiftie news from Threads. I was seeing like photos of past performances and her different 1989 outfits, and I was enjoying Threads in that sense. It made me feel very connected to Swifties before the Eras tour, and then I just kind of got addicted in general, and it was bad. It was really bad. So I had to delete it completely off of my phone. And like I said, I've been on Substack for a while, just casually reading, finding writers and blogs that I love. But I decided, why not just create on my own? So I started my Substack blog, and I will link it below if you're interested in following it. It's called I Made a List by Mary Skinner, and it's going to be very low key, very casual. I'm not going to have a posting schedule. It's just when I get in the mood to create a list, which I do all the time, my notes app is full of random lists I've curated. I'm just going to write about it and share it with you guys. So the first post that I wrote this week was very calm. It was just June 2024, empties and favorites. Really easy. Felt fun. I felt like I was an OG blogger in like 2013. I kind of fulfilled a little teenager dream I had to be a blogger. Like, of course, I wanted to be a blogger. Those were the OG influencers. Before there were influencers, there were bloggers. And so it was kind of nice to write a little empties and favorites blog post, and I had fun with it. But it's not going to be just about beauty or just about influencery type things. I just love making lists. I feel like I've said that on this podcast a million times. Love to make a list. When my life feels chaotic, making a list. When I need to organize my thoughts in some way, list about everything. My notes app goes back years and years and years of random lists that I have curated of ideas I've had, thoughts I've had, favorites I've had, life lessons I've learned, things like that. Even this podcast, I feel like, has given me an outlet to talk about lists. And that's what this is going to be. I Made a List by Mary Skinner. And like I said, it's going to be calm. I'm not going to promise to stick to a strict posting schedule. I'm not going to try to pump out content every week if it doesn't feel right. But when I need to make a list, this time I'm going to share it with you guys. So Substack is a favorite. And because I was spending a lot of time on Substack this week, figuring out how to set up the blog and then writing and publishing my first post, I just got really back into reading different authors again, and I found a couple that I really like. So if you are looking for people to follow on Substack, besides me. My two favorites this week have been Back Row by Amy Adele. The tagline is the fashion and culture newsletter that publishes what legacy media can't. So it's called Back Row by Amy Adele. Some of her recent articles are titled things like The Story Behind the Devil Wears Prada script, Ultra Fast Fashion Rot Spreads to Amazon, Jill Biden's embarrassingly timed Vogue cover, 8 media predictions for a changing fashion industry, age-old shoe etiquette debate is back, brands prepare for the great exhaustion of 2026. That was a really interesting one to read if you are an influencer. Things like that. I think you kind of get the vibe of what this Substack is about off of those excellent titles. I really like Planet Nude, a newsletter and podcast exploring nudity in history, culture, politics, and art. I love being naked. I love nude beaches. The summer that I was 19, I think, I was exploring as many nude beaches as I could on the East Coast. We should all be more comfortable being naked. I am naked in my house all the time. Matt is always fussing at me because I forget that there are open windows and I'm accidentally like changing in front of a window because I'm just not even thinking about it. And because of that, I really like this Substack. I believe this one has a couple different contributors because there's different authors on the posts on their page. I like Long Live by Erica Vuring. It's a twice weekly letter from secondhand fashion obsessed writer Erica Vuring. And those are things like Your Mom Was Right About Eddie Bauer, There Is Life Beyond Adidas Sambas, Any Book You Read on a Beach is a Beach Read. Let me do some more because I keep getting asked who I read on Substack. I, of course, have to mention Internet Princess, aka Rain Fisher Kwan. Before I even had a Substack, I was reading her articles. I followed her on TikTok for the longest time, like we're talking years. I feel like she so often perfectly puts things to words that I think about internet and internet culture. I think it's called Internet Princess. If you just look up Rain Fisher Kwan, Rayne, she's been posting for a really long time. She's been writing cutting edge, hard hitting commentary on internet culture for a while, and I love her. I haven't read anything from her in a while, but I have to mention her because I was reading her before I even started a Substack of my own. So anyway, Substack is a favorite. I'm on there now. Those are some people that I follow. And it's been nice reading Substack because I haven't been reading any books for months. I only have 3 books in this entire country. If you're watching the video, you can kind of see them behind me. Is that 3? Oh, I apologize. 4. I lied. 4 books in this entire country, but one of them was a gift after I got here. I have been listening to some audiobooks, just historical romances, really easy things that I put on while I'm doing my laundry or the dishes. But yeah, no reading, no nonfiction, no novels, no nothing. I really want to get back into it. It's just that I don't know where to go buy books in Edinburgh, and all of my books are still in the United States because our stuff has not left the port in the United States yet. They told us 6 to 8 weeks. It's been 7 weeks. It hasn't even left the United States. I have no idea when I'm going to get my things, my books, my clothes, all of my sentimental items. No idea when they're going to come. I have been freaking out about it. I'm trying not to panic because I'm trying not to let my brain run away without me and just decide, oh, we're never getting our stuff. I can't. I can't think about that. I already paid the extremely expensive invoice to have this stuff shipped over here, and I'm so panicked that it's just not coming, and I can't do that. Yeah, I don't know where to buy books in Edinburgh. There's loads of vintage bookstores, but I kind of want to go to a non-vintage bookstore and get new releases. And I don't know where to go. I know that you can get books at WH Smith, but I've only ever seen those in train stations and airports. I'm like, is there a full-size WH Smith somewhere? I'm sure there is. I just don't know where it is. And then with vintage bookstores, they're hit or miss. Like you have to browse for a really long time to find something, and I just haven't really gotten around to that yet. So, no book favorites. When it comes to podcasts, this is nothing new. You guys know I've known Peyton Sarton for a long time. We met years ago. I will say, note to self, her podcast, her recent episodes have just really been applying to me and my life. I've really been enjoying her recent episodes, and I kind of go in and out with podcasts. I'll go through phases of my life where I'm listening to loads of podcasts, and then I'll go through a 4-month period where I don't listen to a single podcast. But I have really liked Note to Self's recent episodes. And like I said, I've known Peyton for a long time, and it's been a nice one for me. Other podcasts, I don't think I've been listening to any other podcasts. And with music, no surprise because she's huge right now, but I have been listening to a lot of Chappell Roan recently. I think that's the only new artist on my Spotify rotation. And I know this is nothing groundbreaking. She's everywhere right now. She's killing it. But yeah, listening to lots of Chappell Roan. I really like her. Okay, I think that's everything with me. Let's get into the girl talk. As always, always, I posted on the Prologues podcast Instagram story asking for topic suggestions. You guys delivered as always, and we'll just go through and get through as many as we can. I'm also going to try to do these a little bit more rapid fire than I usually do because typically we only get through maybe 5 topics in a Girl Talk episode. But because there were so many suggestions and because I don't do these every month, I'm going to go fast or faster than normal. I want to do at least 10. Okay. Did you see a dermatologist for rosacea or Google/research the signs and products to use? I did see a dermatologist. They told me that my rosacea was an inflammation and disruption and irritation in my skin barrier. So skin barrier soothing ingredients were what I really needed to focus on in my skincare. So ceramides, things like that, hyaluronic acid, really gentle. I was also told to skip the really intense active. So no AHA, no BHA, no retinol. It's too disruptive to the skin barrier. And then niacinamide and azelaic acid are also really key ingredients in healing and soothing your rosacea. I do have a post on LTK that has a lot of my rosacea favorites, although that would make a great Substack post. A list of the things I've done to heal my rosacea or keep my rosacea at bay. So yes, heal the skin barrier, stay away from really intense actives, azelaic acid and niacinamide, loads of ceramides, etc. I paid for a dermatologist so that hopefully you don't have to and you can take those little bits of advice. Hopefully that works. Although, of course, when in doubt, go see a dermatologist because I'm not a doctor. But that is exactly what I was told, exactly what I did, and it really worked for me. Is the need for academic validation bad? Okay, you're talking to the queen of all academic validation girlies or former academic validation girly. The need for any outside validation is bad. The need for any validation that comes from outside of you and your existing self-worth is bad. It's not bad to be proud of your intellect. It's not bad to take pride in your schoolwork and your education. It's not bad to want to continue to learn, to grow, to better yourself intellectually. That's not bad. It is bad to rely on validation from outside sources. So much easier said than done. And I know we all know this already, but you should have a strong enough sense of self-esteem. You should have a high enough self-worth that somebody else's opinion of you and your worth doesn't change how you feel about yourself. And that includes teachers, professors, parents, etc. I was someone who cared so much in school, and I made myself miserable to achieve what I did academically. I graduated in 3 years, summa cum laude. I had departmental honors, university honors. I was in honors societies. I did extracurriculars. I had every cord, medal, stole you could think of at my graduation. I graduated early. And did that serve me in my life? Not that much. Maybe a little bit. My GPA did help me get my first job out of college, but that was it. Even before I left my full-time job to do content creation full-time, I had already aged out of the phase of life where your GPA matters at all. And don't get me wrong, I was and I am proud of myself. I did all of that while undiagnosed with bipolar disorder. I was extremely, extraordinarily, diabolically mentally ill in college. And I threw myself into my education because it was something to do and it was something that I thought would give me self-worth. And every time I got a good grade, every time I got amazing feedback on an assignment or something, that inflated my self-worth. But it was fake. It was artificial because it wasn't coming from within myself. And ultimately, it didn't actually help me feel better about myself. And this is coming from someone who did about as many things academically as you can do. Like, that was my life. It was everything to me. And now, when did I graduate? 2019. So it's been over 5 years since I've graduated, and I can say it is not helping my life. I learned a lot of things in college outside of my classes. I learned how to prioritize a deadline. I learned how to manage my time. I learned how to set a goal for myself. I learned how to research. I learned how to think critically. I learned how to not take everything I see online at face value. I learned how to fact check. I learned how to identify a primary versus a secondary versus a tertiary source and how important that is. I learned life skills in that sense that have really helped me navigate the internet as an adult. But you can do that without getting perfect grades. None of that has anything to do with getting perfect grades. So while I think it's wonderful to be proud of yourself for your education, to be proud of how hard you're trying, to be proud of your grades, to want to do well, and to take pride in your intellect, yes, it is bad to need academic validation because it's not good to need any source of outside validation. Do you have to break up with someone if you know you don't want to marry them? It depends. How badly do you want to get married? Is that something you really, really want out of your life? You know that marriage is your end goal for any potential relationship that you're in? Then, yeah, potentially. However, marriage doesn't have to be your end goal for every relationship that you're in. And marriage is not the only marker of success in a relationship. You can have a good, successful relationship that doesn't end in marriage because marriage is not the only way to define that. Not every relationship has to end in marriage. And so if you feel like you're in a good relationship and you don't know if you even want to get married, then of course not. But if you really want to get married and you know that that's the only reason you're dating, like you're dating to find your future spouse, because that was me. I knew that I wanted to get married and I did consider every person I dated as a potential future spouse. So I can't tell you what to do because I don't know what your situation is. But if you're asking for my opinion, because I was someone who was dating to marry, yeah, I think if you know you're not going to marry someone, that's fine. Some people come into your life for a short amount of time and provide what you need in that moment, and then they exit your life, and it's fine. Not every relationship is meant to last forever, and that goes for friendships as well. Some people are just there in your life for a temporary amount of time, and that's okay, and that's not a failure. A relationship isn't a failure if it ends before marriage. So I think what you need to do is decide how badly you want to get married, if you want to get married at all, and figure out how important that is to you and if that's a non-negotiable for you. And once you figure that out, you have your entire answer. I'm graduating from college this year and I'm so scared to start supporting myself. Any advice on how to navigate this transition? I have a serious boyfriend, but not sure if we should move in together or live alone for a while. What did you and Matt do? So, Matt and I weren't together when I graduated from college. I moved into a house with 3 other girls, and I was already supporting myself at that point. So, I just continued to do that. It seems like the main question here is I'm not sure if we should move in together or live alone for a while. What did you and Matt do? I'm not going to lie to you. I am so glad I lived alone before I lived with a romantic partner. Matt was the first boyfriend I ever moved in with. I cannot tell you how glad I am that I lived alone before that. I had a bunch of roommates before Matt, but I also lived alone for a couple different periods. And I'm really glad I had both. Living completely alone teaches you things about yourself that you will be shocked to learn. And it forces you to be okay with your own company. And I think living alone and spending time alone is one of the best ways to get to know yourself. And if you know yourself really well, then you're way less likely to allow somebody else into your life who isn't good for you. I cannot recommend living alone more highly if you're able to. I also really recommend living with your friends before living with a partner, because even though I would never go back and change it, I would never not want to live with Matt. The time that I spent living with girlfriends before living with a boyfriend is something I will cherish forever. It is absolutely magical to live with your friends if you're good at living together, if you're compatible living together, because some people can be amazing friends and just not be good roommates. But the time I spent living with my friends before moving in with a boyfriend is some of the happiest, funniest, silliest, craziest times of my life. And I look back on those memories so fondly. Only speaking for myself, I do feel like if I hadn't had that time with friends before moving in with a partner, I may have felt like I missed out on something. Only speaking for myself. Also, moving in with a partner is quite serious because every step forward that you take with a partner just makes it harder to extricate your lives from each other should you break up. And I'm sure you're not going into this worried that you're going to break up. But let's just be honest. The further you get into a relationship, the harder it is to get out. So I think moving in with a partner is a huge step that should be taken so seriously. That should not be done unless you've had a lot of really fucking serious conversations about finances, living style, the future. Please take this with a grain of salt, but I'm a really big advocate for both living by yourself and living with friends. And when it comes to me, I kind of think of it like this. I have the rest of my life to live with my partner, but those very few short years that I had living with friends, I'll never get to do that again. And it was so special. I don't regret it at all. In fact, I'm really happy that I did it. What do you order at a bar trying to get better drinks than just green tea shots? Okay, I have been drinking more since moving here, and I told you guys I thought that was going to happen, and it has happened. Drinking culture here is so different. In the last 7 weeks, I have gone out, properly out to bars more than I have in the last 2 years. I don't know how to describe it. It's just different. The vibe is different. And I think also it's partly moving to a new place, moving to a new city, having this really big and incredibly socially active friend group here. I've just been going out, and so has Matt. That being said, I have been drinking some new things. So in Scotland, they do porn star martinis, and I've never seen them on a menu in the US, and they are absolutely everywhere here. They're just passion fruit martinis. They are so good. It's like passion fruit and vanilla vodka, and it comes with a little Prosecco shooter. So delicious. It's like juicy. I want a perfume that smells like a porn star martini. I don't know why they call it a porn star martini. Some restaurants that you can tell don't want to say porn star on their menu, just call it a passion fruit martini, but it's the same thing. And it has this really nice foam on top. That's a delicious drink. Although I have to be real, my number one drink of choice is just a Prosecco or a glass of champagne. Or cava. Like, I love sparkling wine. It's my favorite thing to drink. It's delicious. It makes you happy. I feel like sparkling wine tipsy is a very just happy, effervescent, bubbly, good mood type of tipsy for me. And it's kind of my drink of choice. It's also not liquor, so you don't get drunk super fast, which is also really nice. That's my drink of choice. But if you don't want to do that, my drink of choice at the moment is a porn star / passion fruit martini. I also really love an espresso martini, but I have a hard time with them because of my thing with caffeine. But I actually think I've been building up my caffeine tolerance for a while. I've been deliberately trying to build my caffeine tolerance for a while. It's very inconvenient to not be able to drink caffeine. I've been working on my tolerance. I do love an espresso martini, but maybe I should ask if places can make them decaf. Do you think that's an obnoxious thing to ask? I don't like asking for a lot of variations or alterations to a menu item just because I don't want to annoy the restaurant or the chef or the bartender or whoever it may be, the barista. So if you're a bartender, can you let me know if it's super obnoxious to ask for a decaf espresso martini? Because if it is, I won't ask for it. Like, I don't want to bother anybody. But if it's not, that could really change things. I'm 23 and have never masturbated. Does it help with stress or just feeling better? Fascinating question. Does it help with stress or just feeling better? I mean, yeah, it feels good. Like, it obviously feels good. I think it helps with stress. Gosh, I've never thought about this before. Yeah, I think it does help with stress. I think it can help you fall asleep at night. I think it can just like take the edge off of a day. Orgasming is like good for you. What is that chemical that gets released when you orgasm? Pause, need to Google. Orgasm benefits. Let's learn some things today, ladies. Headaches and other pain, heart health, menstrual cramps, self-confidence, sleep, and stress. Those are things that can improve if you orgasm. What is the purpose of it? Oh my God, I love going on a little internet rabbit hole. Some researchers have suggested that orgasms persist because they have a psychological function in reproduction. They feel good, so they encourage women to have more sex. Okay, I don't want to talk about reproduction. I want to talk about us. Can help keep your skin healthy, alleviates pain, helps with heart health. I did know that. I will say, if I'm having really bad period cramps, an orgasm does help. Outside of any benefit like that, I think masturbation can be a great thing if it just teaches you what you like, because I think if you're really familiar with your body and you know what works for you, it's easier to communicate that to a partner. And I just think being really familiar with yourself is a good thing in general. It's good to know yourself. So I do think masturbation helps with stress and feeling better. And I mean, pain relief, heart health. Love that. But I think if you're curious about what the benefits of masturbation could be for you, the biggest one I would say is it just helps you get to know yourself. And I think it can help your sex life with a partner as well, because you just know what works for you. It's way easier to have a good sex life with somebody else if you know exactly what works and you can kind of direct them, because we can't get into new relationships just automatically assuming that the person we're sleeping with is going to know exactly how to make us orgasm. Hopefully that is the case for you. It's never been the case for me. I feel like the more you have sex with someone, the more you learn what to do for each other. I think masturbation can help with that. Very interesting question. This is something we should talk about on the Prologues Instagram, because I want to hear from everybody else. Underwear, brands / types, etc. How to avoid panty lines. Why is cotton less sexy than lace, etc. I do have strong opinions about underwear. I like laser cut underwear. I like cheeky brief, a thong if it's necessary for the outfit, but I don't really wear thongs every day. I think my favorite is a cheeky brief. I don't like really full coverage. I just feel like they roll when you put jeans up. If you have too much coverage on the cheek and you pull on jeans, it just rolls all the way up. And then you have to like stick your hand down your pants and adjust it and smooth it out. And it's like, I don't like that. I don't like panty lines. So I do like laser cut. I like Skims, of course. I love Skims underwear. I love Gilly Hicks. Gilly Hicks makes some great underwear. I would actually say those are the two brands I have the most underwear from. I think Target has some good laser cut options as well. They used to have 5 for 25. I don't know if they still do that. I will say none of my Target underwear has lasted as well as things like Gilly Hicks. And I just got really, really into Skims underwear. I actually worked with them recently. And I've been a fan of Skims bras and bodysuits and tops for a really long time, but I got into their underwear when we worked together. And then they sent me underwear. I tried it. I immediately ordered more, used my own link and went on to Skims and I ordered a ton more pairs. And then they were like, "How did you hear about us?" And I was like, "Mary Skinner." So those are my two favorites, Gilly Hicks and Skims. I like laser cut. I like cheeky briefs. Why is cotton less sexy than lace? Oh my God, who cares? If you take your pants off around someone and they're more interested in the type of underwear you're wearing than the fact that you're getting naked, that's weird. Ooh, I do have this strong opinion about underwear. Not really a strong opinion, but something I strongly believe in. I used to wear thongs every single day. I wore a lot of lace thongs, daily thongs, and I stopped at some point because I got a bunch of yeast infections in a row. When was this? What year was this? I don't remember. It was like several years ago. I got a bunch of yeast infections in a row and I had a couple UTIs that year. My vaginal health was just messed up for like 8 months. And I don't know how I didn't know this, but I finally broke down. I was scouring the internet like, why does this keep happening? What can I do? I'm changing my leggings after the gym. I'm not using scented products. I'm not, all the things. And then I learned that wearing thongs is actually bad for your vaginal health, especially to bed, and going to bed without underwear or wearing only cotton underwear to bed is really good as well. I started doing both those things. Like I stopped wearing thongs every day and I started not wearing underwear to bed, and my vaginal health immediately improved and I haven't had a yeast infection since, and it's been literally years. So I do have strong feelings about that. That's why I wear thongs when it's necessary for the outfit, because I don't like panty lines, but that's why I don't wear thongs every day anymore. My pH or whatever it is just can't handle it. We're getting so intimate today. Do you ever deal with dry spells with your husband? I overthink how often / not my boyfriend and I fuck. I think every couple goes through dry spells, and if they're telling you they don't and their sex life is like always consistent and never has ups and downs, they are not telling you the truth. I've never met a couple that never has changes in consistency with their sex life, because life happens. Things get stressful. People are traveling. Someone deals with an illness or mental health. Work gets really crazy. There's other things going on. Like, things just get busy. There's so many things I think that go into having a really good sex life with your partner. And if any of those things gets temporarily disrupted, it's totally normal to have sex less frequently. And I just think you go through ups and downs anyway. Like, I definitely think my libido isn't super consistent. My libido really depends on my mental health. I think for him, it probably just depends on how tired he is. Like, if he's really exhausted. I think what you can't do is compare the frequency of your sex life to some arbitrary standard that's been made up, that you've seen in the media, that someone else tells you they do, because it's just not realistic. Like, there are such things as having mismatched libidos. That's definitely real, but there is no such thing as one gold standard for how often you should be having sex. So how often should you be having sex? As often as you and your partner want. So the first step is just sitting down with your boyfriend and asking, how do you feel about our sex life? Do you wish we had sex more often? And just ask and just see, because if you're both like, you know what, I really would like to have sex more often, then that's something you can work towards. And also, don't be embarrassed or ashamed if sex is something that you have to plan, at least temporarily. Life is busy. Life is very busy. Preserving intimacy in a long-term relationship takes effort and intention, and anyone who tells you that that's not true is lying to you. It takes effort to maintain an intimate connection with someone over years and years and years. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, you know what, we really do want to have sex more often. Life feels like it just keeps getting in the way. So let's set aside this day next week or this evening next week, and we're just going to be intimate with each other, whatever that looks like for you. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not weird. It doesn't mean anything bad about your relationship. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's actually way more normal than anybody talks about, but I'm here to tell you. And then when it comes to dry spells, yeah, definitely. I wish we wouldn't phrase it as dry spells though, because it makes it sound like that's something wrong, or that's some kind of abnormality or deviation from the norm. Whereas I think it's just the normal ebb and flow of life. I think you go through times where you have more sex, you go through times because you have less sex, and it doesn't have to mean anything bad. It just means that life gets busy, life is more chill, etc. The toxic tampon crisis. Yeah, what's going on? I don't know what's going on with it. I just saw all these articles the other day that said like a bunch of leading tampon brands have been found to have like lead and heavy metals in them. I didn't click on the article. I only read the headline, so I'm not informed on this. But that's the headline that I saw is like some major tampon brands have been found to have lead and heavy metals. Definitely Google that. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. I actually need to look up the list of tampons that do that because I've been using organic tampons for a couple years now because they help me have less cramps. Organic tampons definitely help my cramps when I'm on my period, but I don't know. I need to look into it. I really need to research this. I have seen also a lot of reels and TikToks of people switching to the Diva Cup or to pads because of this tampon crisis. So I know that this is on like the forefront of the cultural zeitgeist. I'm just not informed about it. Let me look up some articles. I'll put some in the show notes because I also need to check what brands we're talking about because I'm not sure if mine are included. How did you know you wanted to marry Matt? Was everything just perfect? No, everything was not just perfect because no relationship is perfect, but I knew I wanted to marry Matt because I felt very safe and very at peace and very at home really early on in the relationship. And for me, that was different than the relationships I'd experienced previously, just that feeling of total safety. I would say that is one of the biggest green flags I had right from the beginning that told me that this relationship was going to be long lasting. And then thinking about marriage was just a natural progression. But it wasn't perfect. No relationship is perfect. Everyone has disagreements. It's how you handle them. It's about treating disagreements and arguments like approaching them with mutual respect, approaching it with it's us against the problem, not resorting to insults or pettiness, which is hard, especially if you're bringing past trauma into a relationship. I brought a lot of trauma into the relationship and had to really confront it because Matt was in a much more emotionally mature place than I was when we started dating. And I had a lot of issues that I had to work out. I had a lot of damage that had been done by people in the past, and it was on me to figure that out. But then, even though Matt was more emotionally mature than I was, he did have a harder time communicating. He had a harder time being vulnerable, and he had more anxiety around letting himself be seen and known than I did. So those were areas where the start of our relationship definitely wasn't perfect. And our relationship isn't perfect now because, again, no relationship is. But I think that feeling of safety that I had then, that I've always had, was a way that I knew. And I don't think there's any one way to know. I don't think there's any like specific checklist that you go down to let you know if this person is the one, because love is not something that's that easily quantifiable. But I felt safe. I felt at peace. I knew that this person wasn't playing me. There were no games. I wasn't anxious about how he felt. He made his intentions clear. He made his feelings clear. He wasn't trying to play hard to get or keep me guessing. He just was upfront. And I just felt safe. I just felt like this is someone who sees me for who I am, sees my flaws, sees my issues, sees all of my imperfections. And trust me, there are a million of them. And he didn't make me feel bad about it. He supported me in my growth and in my healing. He had patience with me. He never made me feel bad about myself. I never, like I said, I never worried that he was talking to other people or I never worried about like things from his past affecting our present. I just felt safe and I didn't have anxiety. And as someone with a lot of anxiety, that made it clear to me from the beginning that this was something special. And if you do have anxiety, like I'm not saying that if you have anxiety about a relationship, then it's not the one. I'm not saying that at all because my anxiety definitely doesn't behave on a schedule like that. But for me, that's how I felt it. Everything didn't have to be perfect. It just had to feel peaceful. I just felt calm. I felt like I was in a tornado all the time in my personal life and my brain was caught up in this tornado. And then when I was with him, it just stopped. The spiraling stopped, the noise in my head stopped, and I just felt at peace. And that's how I knew. The best thing in your skincare regimen right now is, I think I said this in my Substack post, but I just finished a bottle of the Caudalie Vena Perfect serum. Is it Caudalie or Caudalie? Not sure. I think it's Caudalie. Just finished a bottle of Vena Perfect and I tried it once a while back and I didn't like it very much. It didn't do much for me. And then I tried it again because I got it in a PR package. And I don't know what I was on the first time because this stuff is insane. And it gets so much hype in the skincare community. And Caudalie as an entire brand gets a lot of hype. But like I said, I tried it for the first time and I was just like, I don't get it. Like, I don't feel like it's doing anything. I tried it the second time. In love. I'm in love with it now. I don't know what I was thinking the first time. It's amazing. I just finished my bottle and I need to order another one. It's like vitamin C, but more intense. And they have this trademarked, I guess, like chemical compound. I'm not sure. They have a trademarked ingredient that they've created that's more intense than vitamin C. So it brightens, it gets rid of hyperpigmentation, it smooths, it makes you look radiant. Maybe I just have worse skin now than I had when I tried it the first time. So I didn't see a difference. Whereas now my skin has been struggling recently, so the Caudalie has like just improved it so much, but that's my favorite thing right now. Okay, I'm going to do one more. What has been the best and the hardest part about making friends in your new city? The hardest part is just getting outside to meet them. It's really hard and getting out of my comfort zone. I don't like meeting new people. I am shy. Well, not shy. I am reserved around people I don't know. I have a difficult time speaking to people I don't know because I have social anxiety. I am very open and bubbly and super friendly and high energy with people who I know and love and who feel safe, like people I'm comfortable with. But if it's someone I've never met before, I don't know how I'm supposed to get over my social awkwardness in order to get to a friendship point with them because I just feel so reserved. And it's hard being an introverted or reserved person trying to make friends because I'm constantly worried that I'm coming across as like cold or disinterested. And I'm not disinterested or cold at all. I'm actually very interested. I just feel uncomfortable because I don't know the person. So that's been the hardest part is getting over my own social anxiety, getting over just not even wanting to like go out of my house and meet people, getting over the feeling that like this person, oh, like, why would they want to be friends with me? This person doesn't want to be friends with me. I'm trying to remind myself like it's not about do they want to be friends with me? It's about do I want to be friends with them, you know? But I do have a really hard time making friends from scratch, like with no mutual friends or anything, because I just feel uncomfortable around people I don't know. That's been the hardest part. The best part has been what has the best part been? I guess the best part has been that the only people I've met so far have been through me like going to workout classes and things like that. And so going to workout classes has been good for me. This is such a shit answer. I feel like I can't answer what the best part has been because I don't feel like I've made a ton of new friends. All the friends I have here are friends that I've had since last year. And like this is Matt's friend group that very eagerly and lovingly adopted me and I'm so grateful for them. But yeah, my friends here are the ones who adopted me. And I didn't really feel a lot of the awkwardness and like feeling uncomfortable around them because Matt was so close with them and all of the girls were just like so welcoming and such girls. They didn't give me the chance to feel uncomfortable. They didn't give me the chance to be anxious because they just like snatched me. And so I actually didn't have to do a lot of work, which was what I needed because I met like 8 people at once. That was a shitty answer. I'm sorry. If I don't know how to make friends, you guys. Like I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We're asking the wrong person. We're talking to the wrong girl. I'm not good at making friends. I have so much social anxiety around people I don't know. Around people I do know, I never shut up. I feel like that's a classic introverted thing. Okay. Are we feeling girly? I'm feeling really girly after this. I know I say this every time, but Girl Talk is one of my favorite episode formats to record because I just love talking about this. It feels like getting online and talking shit with, all the girls. My favorite pastime, genuinely. And we can all do it from the comfort of our own homes. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Check out the Prologues podcast on Instagram. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know how we feel about a Prologues rebrand because I think it has to happen. I think I'm just in too different a place in my life and I need to change the vibe. I have to change it up. It's just not feeling 100% me right now. I just need to change something. Let me know. Aside from that, I hope wherever you are, wherever you're listening, you're having a wonderful start to your week. Thank you for spending your Monday morning with me, and I will talk to you very, very soon.